Hello, my name is Sharon Mamphoto. I am the principal of Inkulego Isizwe Primary. I started as a principal in 2009, but with the school I started in 2003. That was when the school started as fluctuating. The area happened not to have a school at the time. So when we arrived, we were supposed to accept learners from the informal learning center where they were learning multiple classes in one class. So at the time when we received them, we had a lot to do with these children because they didn't know any formal education, and some of them would come to school with their head not combed. Some of them, they didn't even wash themselves. They just woke up and then come to school. So we had a lot of work to do. So as a principal, when I started in 2009, my vision was to see these children learning just like any other child anywhere. I wanted them to be able to compete with any child from any school, any country, just anywhere. It shouldn't be where they are coming from that had to define them. I had to actually make it very clear to my teachers to say, I don't want us to be defined by where we are coming from. Our school can be a prefabricated structure, but that is not us. We are in that school to can make a difference in the life of these children. So it happened that all the time when I'm receiving my results every end of the year, and I saw my pass percentage fluctuating from 89%, 99%, and all the time I would fluctuate there. So one day I started thinking of the skill that I learned from D, Data-Driven District Dashboard. So that is where I learned decision making using data. So I started calculating how much is 1% and 3% of my total enrollment. That was when I saw that it's a lot. So I said to myself, since I started as a principal in 2009 until I retired, I don't know how much I would have contributed to the dropout. Maybe some children that I would have educated in this school, they will happen to drop out, and maybe some of them will then start receiving grants. So at the end of the day, it would have been me who contributed there. So I just thought to myself, I don't want that. I want to change this situation in my school. I want to change situations around so that these children who are failing every year, that 1%, that 2% that is failing every year, we should start changing that so that we can have 100% pass, and we happen to pass each learner every time when we educate them for a period of a year. You will remember that the law of education states that we are in loco parentis. So it means that as a principal, I'm a chief in loco parentis. So I have to ensure that such is happening, and I have to ensure I worry about the life of each and every learner. So then I thought, all the time you would see children very much interested in phones, and they will be interested in using the phones. Sometimes they even know these phones better than we do. So I thought to myself, if we can have a computer center where we can have our children learning there, and where we can be able to have these children who are lacking to have that information in a different way, to learn in a different way, and we break that monotony of learners learning using a chalk and board all the time. So I just thought maybe we can actually win these learners who are failing, this 2% that is failing, we can be able to win it. So I then had to do something so that such can be possible in our situation. I remembered a book that I read from Miles Monroe, which is saying Managing Crisis. The title is Managing Crisis. He defined a manager amazingly, and then he said a manager is a person who manages resources that do not belong to him. And he has to maximize the minimal and make the most out of it. And just maximizing the minimal and making the most out of it, that makes the manager an economist. And that happened to hit something home in my head. Because then I said, if the MSc, Mr. Panyaza Lisufi, is allocating us with the budget that we have to use as a school, it means this budget, we have to make sure that we are maximizing the minimal and making the most out of it. So I said to my school governing body, you know, when we have to purchase materials, we have to ensure that we are finding a service provider that is cheaper and able to provide us with quality materials for our learners. And then we happen to find that service provider who's providing us good material, cheap, and then we happen to purchase those materials for the first time. And then we realize that we are actually saving a lot from purchasing from this service provider. And then I said to them, we are not supposed to be restricted to this service provider only. We can get even more service providers who can be able to even cut costs and save and make us save. So if we are able to find the one who can beat the one that we are using right now, I think we can really be happy because we'll be saving a lot. Then we continued, and last year, 2017, we happened to save a lot of money because of purchasing using service providers that are providing us with materials that are of good quality. If it's a print, they give us a print brand for sticking papers for our learners. And it's the same price that you know. If you go to ShopRite, then if it's 50 cents, you will also get it 50 cents from the service provider. And we were happy with the service. And then we saved a lot of money. And all the time when we purchase materials, because I am an ex-officio in the school governing body, then I had to go to the LTSM center at the district Johannesburg South. That's where I communicated with the LTSM, and then I said, we happened to save a lot of money, and I think at the time it was about 350,000 that we saved. And at the time we had purchased all the learning material for our children, the textbooks, we had already purchased all those. And I said to them, I have a vision. I want to use this money to have a computer center in my school for our learners. This is what I'm experiencing. All the time my learners, I happen to have maybe 99%, 89%, and then I'm losing out on some percentage of learners who are actually not making it every year, and I'm not happy about that. They said, oh no, for you, Mr. Mamphoto, you can do that. We trust you. We trust that you can be able to do that. And then I said, it's fine, and then we'll communicate on the spendings, because all the time we have to report at head office on spendings. And then I came back, and then I reported to the school governing body to say, you know, that vision that I had, because my school governing body, I had a buy-in from my school governing body. So then the only thing that was left was for me to talk to the LTSM center at I was supposed to talk to at the LTSM center at the district, and they endorsed that to say no, go ahead, thumb up for that, thumb up on that. And then I went on with the school governing body. We tried to get suppliers who can be able to give us the center. We are having, in our computer center, we decided that we need to have 50 computers and a host. So the supplier who quoted us on that, the cheapest one was, I think it's about, was about 280 something thousand, the cheapest one, and we even saved again there. Then the computer center, everything was put together, and then the main important thing with this center is that I wanted these children to learn English, a computerized English. I wanted them to learn computerized maths. I wanted them to learn computerized science. So that those are the main subjects in the GET band. So that if they then excel on those three subjects, I know that they will be able to excel on the rest of them. So in our computer center, we are having computerized maths, We are having computerized English and computerized science. So I had to come one day to observe these children using the center. And trust me, my heart bled when I saw them using that center. Because when a child was holding a mouse, the cursor will just run everywhere on the screen. Then that told me that it is the first time that this child is holding a mouse. And to me, my heart bled because it wasn't supposed to be like that. Because like any other child anyway, these children in this school, they are also deserving, just like any other child. And for that reason, I said to myself, I want these children to use this center frequently so that they can get used to holding a mouse, they can get used of using a computer as a book. And that will change the way they do things. And I saw the excitement on their eyes when they were using the computer for the first time. I saw the excitement of learning in this center in a different setup from the one in the classroom. And that gave me that self-fulfillment in my heart, because I knew already that this is exactly what I wanted to see happen. And the most important thing is my teachers are also on board. They are trained by Saibono, my teachers are on board, they are trained by the e-learning center, and all of them have laptops, so they are using their laptops on a daily basis. And I'm positive that my teachers are ready to can actually take our children through. And as I'm sitting in this office, you will notice that I have a screen over there. And that screen that I have there is actually to project what is happening in the library on a daily basis. When a teacher gets in the library, I'm able to see what is happening in the library sitting in this office. And the reason to that is that I want a person, if a teacher is getting in the library, in the smart library where our computers are, I want that person to go in there and invest their time and ensure that children are leaving that computer center having learned more in that computer center. Not just going in there and to see the laptops that are there, not going in there to just play there. No, I want them to go there and come back with a lot of information that they've learned in that computer center. And then if it comes to a push and I am seeing that a teacher is not doing right, and I can see that on my screen, I will definitely go to the library and call that teacher to order. Because that is not, that person would be doing something else that we did not plan to do. So every time that we invest for our children to go to the library, it should be the time that children have to go in there and benefit out of that library, which is the most important thing. You will notice that at the back of my chair, there's a poem which says our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but our deepest fear is because we are powerful beyond measure. And I love the poem because then it tells us about how powerful a human being is. I am not supposed to feel like I'm underprivileged because I'm a principal of a school in an informal settlement. I have to feel good because in any situation where a person finds himself, you will find people who are in worse situation than that. So as I am in this school, I feel good because there are some children who are still learning under the tree, and that is not my situation. My children are able to go in the classrooms. They are able to go there and learn. And we just have to change situations around on our own. And changing situation does not mean changing the structure. It means changing the mindset of people, changing the education system that we are supposed to give our children. That is exactly what we want to do. And these children, they are competing everywhere. If you can have a look at my office, you can see all the trophies everywhere. And all these trophies everywhere is actually an evidence to say these children are able to compete anywhere, which is actually the vision that I have to say these children have to go and compete anywhere, and they must be able to come back with something. I want to share with you something. Right now, I want us to go to the library so that you can see how that library was designed, so that you can be able to see how we multitask in that library. It's a multi-purpose center, and for a reason, not because we want to do different things in the library, but because we lack resources. But we have to be creative and innovative about that in the library so that we can be able to do a lot of things in that library, being one. That is why I'm saying our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's because we are powerful beyond measure. So you will see the creativity in that library when we get to the library, so that you can be able to understand why that setup is like that. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Once again, here we are. This is my computer center. As you can see, everything is closed up. You won't be able to see that it's actually a computer center. You will see this as a table. The reason for making this like this is because we don't have a staff room. This library serves as a staff room for teachers. It serves as a class for our learners when they come for computer lessons. It serves as a library when they come to learn. It also serves as a science lab when they come for science. As you can see this side, it's a science lab. So it means that when they come for any science lesson, they have to use these materials this side. So this is the science center. So going down there and right round is our library. So then we have this part which is closing up for any dust that comes from outside. It is closing up. It is closing up for any person to see what is happening inside. So it's in a way security, so that people should not see what is happening inside. We have a door here. As you can see, this door going down. This is the strongest door you can ever see. No one can pass through this door. They can push it, they can do anything they want, but they cannot pass through this door. We also have there air conditioners. For the same reason that we've closed all the windows, we need to have air conditioners so that our computers can be able to function well. We also have our host that side. So that is our host for all our computers that we have in the in the center. So the two air conditioners is to keep us the temperature. It has to be an acceptable temperature for our computers, for the people who will be using the center. We also have our projector up there. When a teacher comes in to teach in the lab, they have to use the laptops that are here. Maybe I have to open so that you can be able to see. These are our laptops. They are behind this door that I've just opened. So these are our laptops. So when the teacher is teaching, the teacher will be teaching from there. That is our computer screen that is rolling down. So when a teacher teaches, they will be able to project the lesson using the projector to the screen, so that learners can be able to see better from the projector there before they can actually do what they're supposed to do in their laptops. Right, so this is our center then, and I am very happy to have a center like this in Mamphoto. And as you can see there, we've got cameras all over. That is camera number 1, camera number 2, and camera number 3, and camera number 4. There are also other cameras outside, and the cameras in the center where I was, next to my office. And the ones that are here are the ones that are actually showing me what is happening in the center, in my office. And I've got one that is outside. That is the one that is actually showing what is happening outside there. And there is one in the admin block, on the foyer. That is the one that is showing whoever comes in, whoever does whatever that they're doing, I'm able to see all those things sitting in my office. And you always know that we have burglary being a problem in the area. So since we started putting together all these things, because what happens is that this center, the view to the center and the view of the school and the admin block, I'm able to see that using my tablet. Even a phone, I can activate that on my phone so that I can also see what is happening here in the school when I'm at home. And that is the one security that we put in place as a school, so that we should not have this and then in a short while then everything is stolen and then we are back to square one. So that is the system that we put in place, and it's actually working for us. So the projection, like I indicated, when a teacher is teaching in the center, then the teacher will project just like that, as you can see. And then the lesson will be projected there, and the very same lesson that the teacher is projecting there is the very same lessons that are in these laptops. So that is basically all about the use of the computer center and the setup and everything. And I have to say that it wasn't an easy thing for us to put together all these things. We had some challenges in the process, but because we were able to, there's the center, we started by designing the center, so everybody would have this in mind to say this center, when it's completed, it will be like this. So all of us, we were looking forward to see it completed. So we were working together to make sure that at the end it's completed and it's really working the way we saw it on the picture. So the picture that was designed happened to come alive, as you can see. Our computer center now working. It's a multi-purpose center. It works as a library, it works as a science lab, it works as a computer lab, and then it works as a staff room. Because we don't have resources, but we are not complaining. We just make sure that we are innovative to ensure that all these things are working within the space that is provided for us by the Department of Education. I really thank the MEC, Mr. Panyazo Lisufi, for the allocations that they give to us, because we are making it go a long way. Stretching the rent, like he always say, we are making sure that it's working. ICT in education, we didn't wait for the MEC to provide us with computers. We said with what the little that the MEC is giving us, why can't we stretch the rents like he's always saying? So Pillar 6, ICT in education, it is also working for us. We didn't wait for the MEC to help us with that. We said whatever that is given to us is actually help already. So we are using the very same resources to get started. So at the time when the MEC reaches us to ensure that we are having a computer center, it will be a second computer center. And I believe that maybe the MEC can start with us because we are showing interest in Pillar 6. And Pillar 6, it is working for schools, because we can't always have chalk and board in the classroom without changing. Like as things are changing, we also have to change as a school Teachers have to change, and you should not have this perception to say BBT, a lot of teachers are born before technology. That does not work. It doesn't work these days because we have our teachers using their smartphones already. That is computer. So stay away from that perception which is saying we are born before technology. There is nothing like that. You can just give those teachers those laptops, and trust me, you will find them using them because they are using those smartphones. And for that reason, it worked for me because that is exactly what I started doing. I started by observing the way they are using their phones, the smartphones they have, and because of that, here we are. And we started in 2015, June, to start using computers with all the teachers. And then from all the teachers, then we saw a need to then escalate that and then bring our learners on board as well. And here we are. And I believe that 2 years down the line, our learners will be excelling when it comes to computing. Thank you.